Woo-wee! Today was a very confusing day. We'll talk about fake out central with our lead gapper TLSA. I keep wanting to say TSLA, which is the Tesla ticker. And I don't know, it was so easy to mix them up. When I ran the scanner this morning, I was like, what? Tesla's up over 400%? That can't be. Something's wrong. And then I was like, oh, wrong ticker. There was big news about this British, or I guess you can say UK biotech company, and that they have a possible cure or treatment for the coronavirus. So this morning it was gapping up over 400%. I think it hit like 450 or 470 for a little bit, getting close to that 500%. And then it was kind of pulling back all day, back to close to $5. So it went up around $10 and then it was pulling back to $5. And that is when I wanted to get aggressive. First thing in the morning. Unfortunately, I kind of missed that, right 1-2 first minutes where it absolutely ripped. I think it pulled up about 40%. We're gonna go on the charts in a little bit and I'm gonna show you guys that trade I missed. And the reason I missed it is because I was kind of focused on KALA, our lead gapper from the day before, which I held overnight for the first time. Well, okay, not for the first time, but I rarely ever hold overnight for these small caps. And there's a big reason why I held KALA overnight. And if you guys were on the stream, you heard me talking about the reason. And in the recap video yesterday, I kind of mentioned the reason as well. I'll briefly cover it today because we're still not out of the trade. I'm still holding it. And I really don't want to hold it much longer because every day I hold KALA, that's one trade that I can't really make. And technically, now it's taking up 2 days of trading already. And to me, there's a big opportunity cost associated with that. We're still in a crazy hot market. Stocks are pulling back about -3%. I think the NASDAQ right now is at -4.2% or something like that. Who knows, there might even be a market halt today. The big one I really want to talk about though is TLSA. I want to review the 2 trades I made on it. And after the first trade, when I kind of got chopped out a little bit, we were up over 10% on that trade and I didn't close it because I've been closing all my trades way too early. And this is the one trade I kind of didn't close early. And it was the one trade I actually ended up closing for a small loss. It's so annoying when you're up 10% and then you close for a 1% loss. I say that over and over again. I feel like I preach that one line. Yeah, so the last few trades we've been doing, I close out for around 10% and then it rips up 20-30%. I'm like, wow, that happened, 3-4 times in a row. So I was like, okay, this one I'm just gonna hold a little bit longer. Go figure, this is the one that doesn't work. So, sticking to the basics, taking those 10% when you have them all the time is kind of, for me, what I've learned works the best. And every time I don't do it, I kind of get proven right and wrong. I get proven why I have that rule and wrong on, trying to hope that it's going to break a little bit further. What I could do is also maybe take profits a little bit earlier, but with our small position sizes right now, it's always kind of a weird thing to do, but I should definitely start getting in the habit. One thing I did do right about TLSA though is the fact that I noticed that this thing is trading very choppy. There's a giant spread and it's fake out central on TLSA. So let's be a little bit more careful. And then that's when I decided to not buy any breakouts on it and only buy on big dips. And that's what I did. And so our second trade was profitable, but it was technically a failed trade. It didn't really do what I wanted, but I was able to avoid a lot of risk just by understanding how this thing is trading, understanding it's probably getting a lot of traders on the wrong side, understanding that for me, I was on the wrong side, so I clearly don't understand this stock. So getting extremely less aggressive, more conservative on a ticker like that, especially now it's in the second half of the morning, definitely worked. All right, let's talk about this crazy daisy, TLSA. Let's go to the charts. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoy this content. If you're totally new here, I'd love to see you again, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon too. Let's head over to the charts and talk about these tickers. All right, guys, so this is it. This is TLSA, the almighty, the coronavirus stock that was up on potential treatment news. Now, this was a fairly new stock, and for a biotech, you typically see these things have a lot of reverse splits, a lot of basically a linear path to the downside. So this is fairly new, and who knows? Since it's breaking out to all-time highs, how high it can go before it turns into your classic biotech. And we had some key levels of resistance here, specifically at $6, and you can kind of see that area coming into play here when we first were starting to move higher pre-market. So let's quickly chart this out a little bit. Yeah, this move was 427%. We ran all the way up to 10.5. That was a huge, unprecedented move. And here you can see in the news column right down here at about 11 o'clock. This one came out my time. Actually, this is one my time. Potential treatment for COVID virus. So this news article came out about 13 o'clock, which we're 5 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time, which makes it about 8 a.m. This article came out, a potential treatment for the coronavirus. Let me see what kind of earlier news we had, about 12 right here. So yeah, a little bit earlier, a lot of percentage movers, strikes, opiate settlement. Okay, so this one is up pre-market, gapping up tremendously. We're kind of racing past this $6 area now. We went all the way up to $10, and now we're pulling back. And this is when I was like, okay, let's see how far this is going to pull back. Clearly, we have a lot of tops in this area. So around 470 to about 5.2. You can see we've tried to break out from this area several times and keep getting rejected. And I was thinking, $5, clear big support. So pre-market, we pull all the way back down to 4.8, actually even further, 4.6 or something like that. Let me quickly see here. That's about a 55% pullback, so really, really aggressive. And we actually had on our Roth IRA account a limit order at 4.55, which was so annoying that we didn't get this entry. It pulls back all the way to 4.57. So we were 2 cents away from this entry. That would have been a 60% move now if we sold at the perfect high, but most likely I would have sold somewhere in this area right away, or maybe in this chop. I don't know if I didn't get this one. It didn't happen, so it doesn't matter. We don't have to talk about it, but that was such a close one. Sometimes you just want to get a little bit more aggressive when you see those things happen every now and then. My first trade on this one was after this big move to the upside. I was waiting for a pullback under VWAP, coming back to these breakout areas around 5.6, 5.5. On this dip, we missed the entry, which is fine. I was expecting this to pull back maybe one more time, close to 5.57. So again, I missed this entry by a few cents. I was like, oh man, again, I can't believe it. And then, we broke up here, and I like this. I was waiting for a little bit of curl here, and my goal was to see a bigger move past this high, about $7, but really, a clear break from $7, not just a little fake out break, like a real, to 750, maybe on the way to 8, and then I would want to take some profits in the high 7s. That was kind of my goal. So I bought this pullback here, and I was a little bit negative for this for a small period of time. And then we had this really, really nice big green candle. This ran up about 10%, and then right again, it ran up even more. I think on this position, I was up between 10 to 13% at one point, and I was like, oh, this is looking good. This could be a nice big breakout. But unfortunately, we had a fake out, pulled back really quickly, and I sold near the low of this candle, and I actually even took a small loss. I think I sold at the 19. Yeah, I sold for a 9-cent loss, per share, which is fine. It happens, but it's kind of annoying because this thing, instantly bounces up here again. And I thought this is when I was going to break out and shoot through the moon. And I was again, it was kind of annoying because we could have took profits. I would have been up 13% on this trade. That would have been a really, really nice trade. I should have just took profits like I typically always do. But then it pulls back again and then tries to break out here. And I was like, we're making a nice ascending channel or ascending triangle. So we have, let me quickly go here to the 5-minute chart so you guys can see a little bit better. So we have some nice higher lows being formed here, and then here for the breakout. And then we have a flap top here. So this is a classic continuation, a bullish continuation pattern. But again, it was a fake out. It didn't work. Pulled back instantly. This pullback was actually really aggressive. This was a 25% move. And then from the bottom, it was even worse. This would have been kind of traumatizing to get stuck in. So let me see here. Yeah, 30% move. So I kind of said, after this trade, I was like, wow, this thing is really choppy. The spread is absolutely insane. And I'm having probably a little bit of FOMO / I want to kind of do a little bit of revenge trading because this thing is all over the place. I just closed out a position for a small loss, even though it could have been a 10% win. I kind of did everything wrong. So I knew I wanted to be extra careful because if I just jumped in TLSA again, I would have been even more upset for taking this loss. So that's why I was really, really conservative and I didn't trade any of this here, even though if I didn't do any of the trades, if I didn't do this trade, I probably would have wanted to maybe buy here and then look for a break here, which could have been a good move. But sometimes you don't want to jump in a trade right away again because that trade might be fueled mostly on emotions, which it definitely probably would have been. Then, One good thing I kind of realized in this area is just the fact that, and I said this on the stream, I was like, well, this is not really trading the way I would want it to trade. It's not really clear. I feel like it's getting a lot of people on the wrong side of the trade, and I feel like I could easily get on the wrong side again. Just right here, we were kind of consolidating right here under VWAP, and it could have been easy to think that maybe we just entered this trade at $5. This is our IRA account. I hold these trades a little bit longer, so I don't talk about them in my my challenge account too much. Let's get back on track. So what I was thinking was, there's a good chance that this might break out here above VWAP, but you know what? The way it's been trading, and I've been on the wrong side of this trade so much, I'm just not going to risk it. I'm just going to be like, you know what? If this thing runs without me, that's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm going to place a very conservative limit order. Maybe we're going to get a pullback, and we did. Actually, right here at 5.62, we almost had a near perfect entry, and I was waiting for this to maybe curl back up and then rip to the upside. But it didn't, and I was like, if this, I don't want to hold this more than 5 minutes really was kind of my goal. I ended up holding it about 7-8 minutes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, about 8, maybe even 9 minutes. At that point, I was like, you know what? This thing is just consolidating under VWAP, very dangerous place, very bearish kind of setup. So I'm just going to go ahead, close this trade. I'm going to call it whatever. Plus, we're getting close to 11 o'clock where I want to wrap up my trading anyway. So I think, it's just not something I want to be in. And it was a good thing because after I closed it, this thing pulls off right here, another 9%. So it was just, TLSA was just a really tricky stock to trade. Let's quickly just talk about the news for a second, because this news is something that you don't see all the time. So UK Biotech, Tiziana, I don't know if I say that right, Life Sciences says its vaccine right here, or this drug they have, may be of use in treating coronavirus. And just kind of going through this article, basically they identified that, if they give this to patients with the coronavirus, it reduces IL-6 in the blood, which is apparently one of the things that get excessively produced, which creates some issues. And you can read through this on your own time. I am by no means an expert in this field. I have generally no idea when it comes to biotechs, but based on the chart patterns and trading, that's really where I like to apply the news. Any stock that's up on this kind of news is going to run, because this is not just, classic biotech catalyst where some sort of FDA approval or something like that. This is like a catalyst that is super relevant to what's been moving the whole entire market. So if there's a small cap, and mind you, this thing's 137 million market cap, and that's after, it's up 400% today. So, this kind of news can really drive a stock, even if it's only for today. Maybe enough people are going to look at it today and realize this is completely bogus, and that know how to read these things. But this is how you get a lot of momentum out of one day. And who knows, maybe there's going to be a big move tomorrow as well. But typically these biotechs and small caps, you don't see the run last more than 2-3 days, and then really the shorts start piling in. So it was good fun that we were able to capitalize on TLSA a little bit. I'm honestly more happy that I didn't really lose money on it, because this was just so tricky to trade, and I don't really regret what we did on it at all. Maybe I should have got aggressive on these first 2-minute candles, but I'll tell you right now why I didn't get aggressive on the first 2-minute candles, and that's because I was distracted with BKYI. So let's go ahead and go over to their chart right now. Oh wow, yeah, this one's absolutely ripping, but wait a second, I was wrong. I was actually distracted with KALA. We'll talk about BKYI in a second, which was our second lead gapper on the day. It was TLSA, our lead gapper, and then BKYI, our second lead gapper on the day. Let me quickly go over to, where is it? KALA again. So KALA was an interesting company. They had, it was an overnight play that I was talking about yesterday on the recap video. Let me quickly go here. And oh man, we were even negative on this trade for a little bit. This one really I did so much wrong on this one. So let me just zoom out a little bit. And let's start on the daily chart. And then let me scroll in here again, zoom out once. So here you can see we're forming a clear ascending channel, which is a fairly bullish pattern. This was really not on my radar till we had this big first green day. And this was one of our lead gappers. I think it was Tuesday. And big green day. I kind of missed it on the first big green day, but the next day we had this pullback, and I didn't really want to trade it because it wasn't that interesting. yeah, this was basically just nonsense. It was just choppy, big support here at 7.6, but it wasn't your classic gap and go breakout stock. So I basically just went all out, ignored KALA. It wasn't until I think about 11 o'clock after I ended it, and I was kind of going through my watch list a little bit, ended the stream. I was going through my watch list a little bit, and I was thinking, okay, KALA looks like a potential perfect overnight play because this thing breaks out on really, really good news. They have a bunch of PR about this new eye cure for dry eye syndrome or something like that. I was thinking, anytime you see something really holding the highs well like this, and it's, the first big green day on a lot of good news, and a lot of these big moves to the upside kind of hold. So, it's not just one big spike to the upside, a big gapper that pulls back that we see often. And typically those I try to avoid, and I definitely don't want to hold those overnight. But here, I gotta catch up in my breath. Here you can see a lot of these moves after a big green day will have a continuation. Big green day, continuation, big green day, continuation. So I was thinking, okay, well, we had a big green day. We have one red pullback, but we're holding the highs near this former breakout area at 7.56. So this looks really, really bullish. I think I'm gonna wanna hold here or enter this trade, hold overnight, and ideally sell pre-market. That was my game plan. But I missed it pre-market because I had a limit order, but it was at about 9.83 or something like that. This thing runs up all the way to 9.12, about an 18% move. But obviously I don't get executed because my limit order is like up here in the sky somewhere. And then, I start watching this chart somewhere in this area and I'm like, maybe it's going to have one more rip. And I lowered my limit order to about, I think 9.18 or something in this area. We didn't get it. We pulled back. I lowered my limit order to about 8.9, kept on pulling back. And then, the market opens and I'm like, all right, this is looking good. There's a good chance we're going to see a 1 minute spike here to the upside. Might have a double top, see $9 for a second. And so I had my limit order right around here and I was ready to get out. And then boom, big red pullback, 5% pullback. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So this thing, I was thinking, all right, we might see a little red to green move. And, we tried it. Had a nice little 3% pop here, but then it kind of kept selling off. And I was like, how am I doing? Yesterday was such a good day, and today I'm somehow on the wrong side of all these trades. And it's not even like I'm necessarily wrong, like I'm calling these moves out. It's just I'm playing them totally wrong. Like this one, I wanted to sell pre-market. I knew it was probably going to pull back in the morning, retest that low. So it's kind of tough because I thought about it all right. I just executed it all wrong. I mean, my entry was basically really nice, but yeah, this, I could have just closed out my position, took my 10% profit or so and moved on. So we were actually red on this trade for a little bit. We had an entry at 0.72. It dipped down about 1%. Now it's pulling up a little bit. We're up like $10, basically 1%. But I'll have to just kind of think about what I want to do with it. And honestly, I probably will be selling it soon. The last thing I want to do is hold this for another day. Maybe I might hold it overnight one more time, but most likely I want to sell into any sort of bounce. So anytime this starts reversing, I want to get out of here. I'll take my whatever percent profit. I don't even care honestly anymore at this point. What the most important thing is that I don't want to hold it, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, because what this is really costing me is opportunity cost. I would have had these funds available tomorrow to trade again, and I could get a 10% trade in a few minutes. But now I'm not going to have these funds available till Friday, just because I held overnight. So this is a cash account. It takes 48 hours for your cash to come back after you close a trade. So I have to really pick and choose, and I can't just hold this for a week because there's a whole, basically 2 days I wouldn't be able to trade or use the funds again. So I'd rather take a small loss or a small profit then kind of hold one more day on this one for sure. So I'm going to be looking to get out of any sort of move to the upside. I've been waiting for any sort of move to the upside all day. This is really stressful. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit annoyed with KALA. I'm not annoyed at the stock, obviously. I'm annoyed at myself how I decided to trade it because I could have got out pre-market so many times. I should be a little bit more strict on getting out from between 10 and 15%. Like if I'm up 10 to 15% on a stock, that's like well above my typical average on a trade. So I should take it. I should just basically go all out and just be like, you know what, boom, take profits. At best, I should maybe average out, close half the position or something like that. But this is just kind of annoying to look at. And now we're negative again on KALA. Just ridiculous. Okay, let me go ahead, focus on some more important things. BKYI, our second lead gapper on the day. I was really cautious about this one, and I basically told everyone on the stream to be a little bit cautious about this one, and I'll tell you why. It's because, well, first of all, it was a really nice move to the upside here. Let's see, open up here, kind of, pre-market 200%. That's a pretty big move. But this 1.5 area, there is a massive amount of warrants that were available to exercise in this area. So I knew 1.5 was going to be really, really difficult to break to the upside. And you can see here, we had one attempt to break to the upside, and then it absolutely failed, 25% pullback. And, there were so many failed moves, and the pullbacks weren't very clean in terms of, where they reversed. I don't think I would have traded BKYI well. And now, at 11:30, it starts breaking up higher. But we typically finish our trading right here at 11 o'clock. So, yeah, I don't know. I was pretty happy, I think, just to avoid this one. You never know, obviously, that, it's going to break out like this. But yeah, I don't regret that I didn't give this one much attention. Not to mention, check a lot of these gaps here. Every time it spikes up, it kind of just absolutely pulls back. So here's a spike. Here's two spikes that pull back. Here's a big spike that just pulls back. Here's a spike, pulls back. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if, this one just totally pulled back tomorrow and then we never heard of it again. And it was also halted so much. Check out this news over here. It's basically halted just on every possible direction. This is insane. It was up on a big contract winner, which I typically really, really like. Tiny float, tiny market cap, 30 million market cap. Float is 14 million shares. But at the same time, this one, it could really, really get you on the wrong side of the trade. And the news was a big contract winner with Nigerian telecom that they were going to offer some biometric security solutions for it. So, I mean, good news and everything, but I don't know, the 10Q had a lot of warrants on there. That's what I was checking, and I just didn't feel comfortable trading this one. With CODX, which was a big favorite today, this one I probably could have traded. It's been a big runner in the past, and you can see on the 5-minute chart or the daily chart down here, it had a huge bounce off of $5, roughly closer to $6, and then just absolutely ripped it. A little bit of a red to green move right here. Buying on some of these pullbacks would have been really nice. This move was really, really strong, 58% move. Kind of crazy. And this is a stock that's been a big runner in the past. So, a big bounce off of a critical support area right here where we had this big line, which is multi-month support zone. Let me quickly go to the daily chart to show you. So all the way back here in 2017, you can see we try to break out of this area, constantly get rejected. We try to break out of this area here, constantly got rejected. We finally broke out of it here. And what do breakouts like to do? They like to retest former areas, and check that out. We had a huge solid bounce off this area. So this would have been a phenomenal trade. This could have been one of those trades that you kind of set up the day before. You kind of just have a limit order waiting here about $6, and then boom, you're up 100%. We sometimes get these trades. And we actually got one today with, which one? AYTU. We had this one, really nice bounce off of 1.57 in a different account of mine, my Roth IRA, which I allocate to support line bounces, just like CODX. But, all my attention today was on TLSA. And I wasn't really focused on CODX. Yeah, that's also a down draw. Sometimes when you're over focused on one stock, you miss a lot of other good moves. But a lot of times, if you're really focused on one stock, there's probably a really good reason for it, and you have the ability to make some awesome moves on it. So again, I don't regret that either. I don't know. I'm kind of happy today. I feel like we did everything all right today. The only thing that really bothers me is KALA. This trade is just tore a giant hole in my soul. Now we're back up again, 13 bucks. I don't know. I think there's a good chance it's going to rip back above 8. I don't know if it's going to go back above VWAP today. I don't want to hold into overnight. So basically, if this thing goes above $8, you can guarantee that I'm going to be out of this stock. All right, guys, that's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you then again first thing tomorrow for the stream. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and definitely consider subscribing. I would love to have you on the channel if you are not subscribed already. Till tomorrow then, guys, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.